Okay, so today we don't have our host and we don't have our Ven. They are in Paris at ETH CC. So today we're just gonna wing it. So welcome to my basement instead of Felipe's garden. Um, so I guess there's only a few of us here, but we could just talk about whatever. Talk about the weather. Talk shit about Felipe. Could talk about UCC. I guess there's a few things that we can talk about. One thing is we did this pool together lotto again. This was our second one, and it's done. Anyone can look at the winner. Maybe we'll do that live and see who won. You also win a cool. Or there's two winners in it. So if you staked and you bought any of the tickets. It's a no-loss lotto, right? So you just stake some funds and then you can pull them out afterwards. But if you did do that, then you actually have pretty good odds of winning right now. A lot of times these things are whales games, but this time we kind of flipped it up and asked whales to put money in to the pot and not buy tickets. So it was kind of cool. I put in a couple house, then someone else put in some house. And I think there's 30 some house in there now, so someone is gonna win that, and we can do that a little later. Check it out. It's already over, so don't try to stake in right now. Although we'll probably run this again. I'm just gonna follow any tangents my brain goes on because we don't have a topic today. But I was thinking about these lottos, and I don't know if anyone remembers or has been a part on Reddit. There's a channel or a subreddit called I think it's called Millionaire Makers, and it started off as just this community of people, and they would just post hey, let's do this lotto, and it'd be all you'd have to do is make a comment I'm interested in being involved, and then they'd say, okay, at this date we're going to use this random number generator and pick from one of these people that they're the winner. But then the thing was, then it would just be cool. They'd just say, whatever crazy Reddit handle someone has, won the lotto, and then all the other members would send them a little Bitcoin or ETH, and it was just all you just did it if you wanted to. You weren't forced to. There was no smart contracts. But what was interesting was, someone would win, and then it would just be making it rain on them. All the people would just be dropping just a little bit of Bitcoin or a little bit of ETH on them. And I always thought that was just really cool, a cool community kind of thing. Just millionaire maker. But I don't know, and that's just something that maybe we should just handle it more like that instead of using these smart contracts. Do it inside of maybe using the tip bot. It could just be everyone tipping 0.1 house to the person that wins, and we would use on-chain random number generator or something like that to keep it fairly honest, and maybe even somehow use pool together, but add that second aspect to it. So we can check that out in a little bit.
Multi-sig with
the other things we could talk about. So ETH CC, everyone's over there in Paris. I don't know if you guys have been watching that. Have you been seeing it at all, Travis? Yeah.
I've been checking it out. Sorry, I forgot I changed my push to talk button. Like I told you I was going to forget. Yeah, lots of good talk so far. Vitalik's talk yesterday was great. I don't know. What do you guys have? You guys been watching any of it?
Just dealing with FOMO in my own ways.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally missed out. It looks awesome. The last ETH CC was kind of called the ground zero of COVID, but now that we're over that, it's kind of cool or it's interesting, I guess, that it was like the last conference, and now it's like the first conference again. So it's full circle. And now it's conference season again, so it's like everyone's gonna be traveling, making moves, making relationships, collaborating.
Temporarily, who knows, man?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody earlier today, and he was worried about lockdown. I was just like, "Come on to Texas." Like, I think we might experience that in other places, but down here, I think we'll probably stay open.
Yeah. Yeah, the Delta variant or whatever. Uh, so one thing, since Felipe's not here, we can talk shit about him a little bit, and Ven. So, um, Felipe, which I don't know if he's ever like done a full introduction, but he's a pretty awesome, like amazing person and character. If you haven't seen him in person, he's kind of one of those people that when they walk into the room, it just like puts off that like presence, and when he starts talking, everyone just starts listening. And it makes him a great host for this show. Um, he's been working in the the DAO space for a long time. Was one of the early people in Genesis DAO and in the DAO Stack team. He was running the conferences and the events for that with DAO Fest, which some people may have went to, and now he started this new one, which is starting, I guess, now, the Daoist. And what's cool about the Daoist is it's really just him like asking a bunch of different DAOs and different DAO platforms, and just it's like not necessarily tied to one thing. Like DAO Fest was a DAO Stack conference, but now it's like just it's more decentralized. It's more just open to everyone. It's actually just like a DAO unconference or whatever you would call it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and like his background is in community and in building community. He wrote.
I've never heard you, Dekan, say such harsh words about somebody. You're really tearing Felipe a new out.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't watch this later. But, it's easier for me to tell other people than to his face, I guess. Yeah, he also wrote it's called the DAO. Oh, what is that called? Well, he's written some like helpful workbooks around building community and building DAOs. So pretty awesome, dude. It'll be cool to see how this conference goes over the next few days, which I think is going to be streamed, so everyone should go watch it.
What I really like is the template that he created under DAO Stack. I thought that was super neat, and I almost want to like re-adopt that. Like this, how to DAO template.
Yeah, we definitely should, and we should look it up. I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's a webpage.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, find it and let's post it in the chat. I mean,
is that going to be part of that workshop series that's coming up starting in September? How to DAO?
No, it's actually totally separate. Felipe just did this, I think maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's like a big kind of like whiteboard. You could actually print it out and have a whiteboard, like stick it on the wall. It's for like a work group around like getting your community started. Which I think that's actually an interesting topic we could dive into a little, but I would feel a little weird doing that without him around, because he's the expert on community building. And then our other kind of host, Ven, I've known him for a long time. We we lived in the same house in San Francisco, but at different times. And if you've been to San Francisco, you know, like, it's crazy to find a place. You're usually living with like 5 or 6 other people, but you just kind of build this community not only with like your roommates at the time, but as like new roommates are coming in, because you're always like going back to visit and things like that. It's like a cycling kind of ecosystem of people. So we lived in a flat in Alamo Square, which is in the Lower Haight area of San Francisco. And we were talking one day. He was telling me he's a designer, and I was saying how I was a dev, and we were talking about how some of the things we like and some of the ideas. And he had this idea about the startup, which was so this was a long time ago, 2010, 11 or something. So the startup was kind of like an Airbnb, but for camping. It's called Land Apart. And so if you own private land, you could take your private land and kind of section it off. We had like a really cool interface with maps and all these things, and build basically a campground on your private land, so you could like manage the calendar and bookings and your map and activities and all these things. And it was a cool startup. We actually like got some like traction initially. Like we met with some big VCs and stuff, but it never really stuck. The VCs wanted us to. This is like my first introduction to VCs, and maybe why we steered clear completely of any of that kind of stuff with Dow House, but they wanted us just to switch it to an event, a wedding event planner, and it was just like, no, you know, we wanted to do this because we're into camping, and that's why we liked it. And so, anyways, the logistics of that turned out just to be way too much, and we had to eventually sunset the project. But so a failed startup in our past, but we built that like connection, and Vin, like anyone who's worked with Vin knows, he's like his design mind, his design thinking is like, I've never met anyone that's even close. Like the way those brain cells can just like,
Yeah, his synaptic gaps are crazy.
yeah, and also like his ability for empathy, which is so hugely important for a UX and design type person, is really incredible. So really lucky to be working with him. We've been working on Dow House since the very start, when it was just a little hackathon at ETH Berlin, a little project. So
the best. Dekan,
shit talking done for those guys.
That was the best backstory ever. I was wondering like why you and Ven, like, I don't know. I was just like, you guys were always together in Odyssey too, so I was wondering like how Odyssey formed. But this is awesome backstory.
Well, Odyssey is a cool story too. So that's actually me, Vin, and Sam, in probably 2016 or 17. So Odyssey is our dev team. But that we were working on Web 2 and Web 3 projects, and it was kind of like more Web 2 at first. I talked Sam out of leaving the agency he was at. I've known Sam for a really long time too. We went to school together, and talked him out of leaving an agency and being like, hey, just join our crew. We've got plenty of work. You can do. We're doing like Python and Angular stuff over here, and we're getting into the cryptocurrency space over here. And so I eventually talked him into it. But when we started, we were like, let's start as kind of like a co-op. Kind of ideas like a co-op. We weren't like registered as a co-op or anything, but we started a multi-sig. This is before like Dow House and other things. It was the old Gnosis multi-sig. And we were just like, we're just going to put all the money we make, no matter what, we're all freelancers still, we do our own thing, we're just going to put it all into this multi-sig, and then we'll just like divvy it out equally. And so we're all 3 different people with 3 different roles, 3 different rates. But that's when we started to like really explore and see the power of network, of like, even though like my rate might have been higher than Vin's rate, we decided to put it together because we knew that us all together actually made the value more, and made it so we could scale more and be and all those things. And really that's, we took 3 freelancers who have built like solo built their networks of clients, and now we came together and now we have all these clients. We started working on projects a lot together, but it would sometimes just be me and Vin, or me and Sam, or Sam and Vin, or whatever. And we just continued to work in that way where we evenly distributed the funds and used a multi-sig for that. That's really what got us into DAOs. Like we designed a DAO system using the old Gnosis multi-sigs, which is interesting. I wonder if we would have pursued that, but anyways, that was called Super Prism. And yeah, we were just messing around. We built all kinds of weird things. One of the fun things we did was an NFT project called Gittron. And Gittron.me, it's still out there. It was a little before its time, and actually now I've been watching people are starting to use it again, like out of the blue, and even with the crazy gas prices. And it was a cool project. Song a Day, Jonathan Mann wrote a song for it. So go check out Gittron.me and you can watch it. It's pretty fun. It was a way for open source projects to create, it was like like a generated robot, cool art done by Ven, generated into a unique robot for every open source project. It used like the code. Yeah, it was like it used the code in your repo to help generate it. And then the cool thing about it was that they would level up. So you're like a supporter of the open source project could buy one of these NFTs. They get a cool robot, which would have some of its own unique characteristics too. It'd be like a clone of the primary repo one. And then if the clone or the primary one sold a certain amount, it would level up to the next level, and there would never be any more level 1s made. But the next level might get like a planet behind it, or some sparkly armor or something like that. But I'm just like going off on tangents.
It's a good day for tangents.
Yeah.
There was like a million things I was thinking of when you kept saying going on tangents. I'm like, oh shit, I need to go on a tangent.
Yeah, maybe I should stop talking so much.
I was thinking the same thing. Well, it's funny that like you and Ben were so like brought together, I guess, by these kind of ideas and thinking, and the weird happenstance of living in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could say that you two are one of the major reasons that I'm still here. Like, so you said it before about Ven with empathy and just understanding and I don't know, just treating everyone with respect and dignity is like just awesome about the space. I started, for those who don't know, my first Web3 foray was with Metagame, which is where I met Ven. And when I first met him, I thought he was kind of an asshole. But he was actually motivating me in a way, and I didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, kind of. I still think about that. And Dekan was always there. I mean, helped me with raid guilds, any questions on Medicatel. So, we're just throwing shade today. We're talking shit on everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I love hearing the stories about how people got into crypto, the origin stories.
Oh, well, if you want to hear how I got into crypto, I was just a straight up degen. I saw that Bitcoin was going to the moon, and what was it, 2017, end of 2017, 18? And I was like, you know what? If Bitcoin's going to the moon, Ethereum's going to go even higher to the moon, and it's cheaper right now. So I just bought a bunch of that instead of Bitcoin. And then I kind of held it for a couple of years until I actually started thinking, hey, maybe I should use some of this when the price was like crashed back down to the floor. So then I had a 2-year learning experience, basically, because of the bear market. And yeah, so and then like once I finally started understanding things, that's when the bull market started, and I like totally all went out the window.
Yeah, that's a different game. And now you're here. That's awesome.
And now I'm here. Yeah.
It's interesting, the Degen route, and I'm curious about maybe your experience and others that went that route. Did you get sucked into the EOS and the Cardano and like all these other things
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
totally.
that are kind of like
Pie in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you.
not nothing, but like all roads lead to Ethereum, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, eventually you find out where the people are, where the community is, where the developers are. But when I talk to people that get in through Bitcoin and being a degen, a lot of times they're like, "Hey, have you heard about this thing Cardano? It sounds awesome. Like they can do everything Ethereum does." And it's just like,
It's
okay,
funny.
so
It's funny that you mentioned that because I obviously always heard that when I was coming up and just trading on Binance or whatever, and would buy those shitters like um, just for speculation purposes, and most of the time would just lose money on them. But the other thing that was kind of interesting about it is like I never lost that thought about Ethereum, like and the things that it was capable of, and then always just thought to myself, why aren't other people seeing this? Like, why don't they understand? It seems very simple to me. Like, there's so much capability that you can unlock with this network.
it's interesting because in the degen game, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to not necessarily care. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
it
so
makes
that's. I mean,
sense,
if you
but
want to,
that's the speculator's game. Sometimes you're just watching the TA on
right?
charts and things like that.
Yeah, and that's where I was. Like, I was convinced I'm going to be a trader. Like, I'm going to be a big shot trader. Didn't work out after my third liquidation. But that's how I got started into like the DAO space too, because um, as I said, I was a degen, and degens love leverage trading. So I found Oasis, which is a CDP. It's MakerDAO. We had them on a couple weeks ago. It was one of their first type of CDPs. And yeah, that's how I was like, it's run by this MakerDAO. What the hell is a DAO? I had no idea. So I started researching DAOs, and I had actually already known about Metacartel from previously, but I didn't understand what the hell it was. I thought it was just a group of people, which kind of is, on a forum. So then when I was looking more into this stuff, I wanted to get more involved, and I'm like, oh, what about that Metacartel? And I was like, oh, those guys are really smart. I don't know. They seem to know a lot about Ethereum. And I was like, oh, what is this meta game? That seems kind of cool. It's the same people, a lot of the same people, but it seems more like relaxed, more chill. And yeah, so
That's cool. That's
kind of
interesting.
never looked back.
And then once you met the Meta Cartel people, you're like, oh, these are just a bunch of
Yeah, once I actually started meeting
ridiculous
Metacartel
meme
people,
boards.
yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, now this is actually way cooler than I thought.
What about you, Travis? How'd you get in?
So I mean, I got exposed to it pretty early, and didn't end up buying Bitcoin until like 2014. And it was just like, okay, this is something that I'm interested in. It's aligned with a lot of the shit that I really believe in, but I'm just gonna buy on a regular basis and not, figure it out, right? And so just kind of was fortunate enough to kind of be able to ride by DCA for a while. And then, last year, my business model kind of got fucked by the pandemic. I'm like not really excited about running an agency anymore and just trying to find something new. And I called one of my friends that had just raised like 10 million, and he's like, oh man, the startup's life's not as great as I had thought it would be either. And so he was like, but man, with your like history, your like knowledge of technology, your experience in financial services, like you got to get this DeFi shit figured out. And so I just kind of like jumped into the rabbit hole and went like totally, as far as I could push it on a day-to-day basis. And started getting really deep into like the technology of it. And I called him back and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out XYZ based on this, video that I watched. He's like, dude, you're going in the wrong fucking direction. Like, you need to figure out DAOs, like with your like how you care about, people and coordination and teamwork and all that stuff. That's the direction that you should head. And so that's when, I kind of started exploring that space and got exposed to Rage Guild, which then kind of led to DAO House.
That's awesome, and I didn't realize a lot of that about you. That's actually really cool. Cool to hear.
It's funny
Anyone else
that-
want to be put on the spot and talk about their origin story?
I'll drop mine. It's pretty short and sweet. I just like got into Bitcoin through studying econ and listening to, I guess, like different influencers, and maybe not influencers, but he was pretty influential. I don't know if you guys ever have listened to Max Kaiser, but dude's a freak show. But also pretty entertaining. And I used to listen to him when I was maybe in like a freshman in college, so freshman and sophomore. And that kind of, I don't know if it was through him I found out about Bitcoin. I guess it's kind of irrelevant. But then I think my sophomore year of college, Salt Lending, Caleb Slade came to speak at my school. And that got me like interested on the like DeFi side. Like, okay, how can we
Whatever
do
happened?
lending?
Because it was so huge in that 2017 period. And
Yeah, so basically they had a run-in with the SEC, and I think had to pay, I don't know if it was like 50 million, or they basically had to pay anybody who had purchased SALT tokens and taken a loss and requested restitution. So I don't know if they went under or what happened. It looks like they're still like, they still have their website and everything. So I found out about, I guess, like, so I was studying econ and I'm like looking at fractional reserve banking, I'm looking at modern monetary theory, and I'm looking at like the different economic concepts from like neoclassical economics versus like Keynesian or Austrian economics, looking at all these different kind of frameworks, and then also relating that to like how the US runs its current monetary policy and fiscal policy structure and trying to make sense of that. And I was like, our systems are obviously incredibly inefficient. Like, what is this cryptocurrency thing? So I kept digging into that, and like, I followed people like Jameson Lopp. I really liked him as a Bitcoiner, and like followed him pretty closely. I listened to like even Caitlin Long and a lot of those people back in the day. And then in Denver, I met, or I went to this Denver Day for Crypto in 2017, following that Salt Lending conference that I went to at my school. And I listened to Jake Vartanian speak, who I ended up like running into when I was working valet at Union Station downtown Denver, who was starting this project called Native. And Jake, like,
that's where I met you, was at Native, because I was working with Jake at the time.
Because Jake was working community infrastructure from a different angle. He was basically just trying to create, very similar to almost like DAO Stack, Native was trying to like take all these different components and like put them together. So like at the time we were looking at like, I think the early days of Uniswap, or maybe it was just 0x. I can't even remember what some of the terms were anymore, but but yeah, we were looking at 0x, and we were going to use like Bancor for like basically having a reserve and creating community tokens. That was like the entire basis of the platform, was to allow communities to come to the platform, kind of like Aragon, create their own digital organization, and then create their own currency within that organization against a reserve asset, and that reserve asset was native token.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, native was just a little before its time, I think. It's unfortunate that, I don't know, maybe he's still working on it. I don't know, whatever he's doing, it would be cool to hit him up again, because he's got some crazy ideas about the space. Jake
He does.
Canyon, look him up. Yeah, this was like after Bancor and the their network token or whatever, and how they were doing their kind of in-network swaps through the hub and things like that.
Yeah. No, so that was really cool. And then I met you, Dekan, and I met like people like Dan Shields and some other people, I guess, in the like more centric to the Colorado community. So like Blockchain for Sustainable Development was also here with I remember Gavin. Can't remember who ran that, but like there were all these different like crypto people in the Denver community who didn't really care so much about, I mean, like it felt like people didn't really care so much about price, more focused on building products, which is what I was like. I always have gravitated toward, like value that can be value that's objective and not subjective, and that's what I think is interesting about building like this infrastructure too, is like the value is so closely like tied to the product. I think it can be using cryptocurrency, which is interesting.
Or to the community even.
Yeah, to the community product, like it's, and that's really why like I'm in the space. Is I think like the economics of today are really kind of backward, and they obviously don't work in favor of value creators. It's really like, I don't know if it's clout or trends or
yeah. Going robot, but maybe we try someone else. One of the anyone else want to share their origin story? Maybe Yves or Penguin?
Oh, I've got a horrible one if you really want to.
Yes.
So, as first Bitcoins, huh? Yeah, that was exciting. I was just like starting a new life after like almost a decade in South Africa. Arrived back in Europe, and I finally found time to like dig a little bit deeper into the first things I've been reading about Bitcoin. And so I got excited excited enough to throw in a bit of money to buy it, to learn more. But yeah, the horror is the era of the forks and the Mount Goxes, where I basically I tuned out. I was like, I'm over this shit. I'm selling. I was basically, that was rage quit avant la lettre. I rage quit. I was pissed, and I sold, and then I watched the interesting bull run in 2017-18 with a lot of FOMO, but also some kind of anticipation that I would have like another window of opportunity. And when that was there, I kind of grabbed it, also kind of missed part of it because for a couple of reasons. But anyway, so for me, when it was really starting to get interesting is when I got sucked into all things DAO. That was for me the moment that I basically started neglecting all. But I've been like online entrepreneur for 20 years, so I've been used to running online businesses. But this was like the beginning of Aragon and all things DAOs was what really sucked me in to spend like all my time in crypto. And yeah, then I basically ended up like last year in DAO House. And we were joking in one of the community calls where I had this really lonely DAO with like old school, old fashioned 70,000 whatever community on social media that was like totally became useless and pointless. And all that I actually wanted was like to build up a really interesting, small, tight-knit community of people as a talent pool, and really start living the DAO life. And that's what I've been doing for the past year, actually, since the beginning of this year. It feels like that's been happening for me, and I think that's the most exciting thing of my whole onboarding into crypto is actually living the DAO life. Like I'm full time at Bankless. I spend a huge chunk of my time doing an art project for Olympus DAO. I have my own little group and DAO on DAO House to get to understand and use the product in more like a small scale project, because that's obviously that's where I can like keep doing with all the ideas, work on all the ideas that I had in the past. But for me right now, the most interesting thing is finding ways to contribute to DAOs, and in my case, that's mainly the ones I mentioned. And
Yeah.
it's been a really interesting process.
A lot in Bankless now. That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I love hearing origin stories, and I love every once in a while someone will like hit me up and be like, "Hey, you're the first person that got me into this through this DAO or through whatever introduction through a meetup or something." And I love hearing those stories. If anyone else wants to talk about it, then we can continue. When you were talking, it reminded me that DAO House actually did put out a few things this week and maybe some things tomorrow too. So we teamed up with Yap Global. They're a global PR firm, and we helped them start a DAO. And so Yap DAO, Yap is actually one of the primary partners of ECC, and they started their own DAO, and they're working as like the service DAO. And so we're building it out more, but we've started this marketplace in DAO House of service DAOs. We really want to like build this DAO to DAO, D2D commerce, and help the people that are using DAO House make that happen. So and Yves, you might even be one of these people, but if you have a service DAO where you're providing your team is providing services to other DAOs or other people or whoever, you can get listed on that market page and have a direct form to get contacted, do consultations, whatever it is you're doing. Right now, I think there's Raid Guild and Lex DAO, the legal engineers, Yap DAO, and a couple others. We'll see how this grows. One of the things we get a lot of questions is like, hey, I want to work for the DAO. What do I do to work for the DAO? One of the ways, get in the Discord, start doing things and that. Another way could be just create a DAO. Like if you have something you do and you have 4 of your buddies or 20 of your buddies or whatever that all do this together, or maybe you want to expand to more people in space, start a DAO that provides that service. And other DAOs in the space are looking for people to do that service. So another one that is starting up soon is Explainer DAO, which they just do these like tutorials and quick like sizzle videos and stuff like that. But that's like a huge thing. Like everyone is like, where do we go just to get this kind of stuff? I guess you hire an agency or something. But if you're already in a DAO or you're working in the crypto space and you can find someone else in the crypto space, it makes things a lot easier not having to deal with off-ramps and traditional organizations and things like that. So I think that's where things are going in the future, but you can check it out on DAOhouse.club at the /markets page. And then our NFT galleries, I think, might be coming out tomorrow. So that'll be cool. Maybe it'll be early next week, but we're getting close there. Well, let's see who won this lotto. Making a Millionaire lotto. So I guess I probably have to look at this. One thing with pulled together is it doesn't show me exactly who won.
Also, I dropped. If you're interested.
What'd you drop?
Just the DAO canvas that Felipe created.
Oh, DAO Canvas. That's right. That's what it was called.
I got some a few other updates while you're pulling this up. LP DAO is coming soon. I think the membership period's going to start next Wednesday, possibly. And I think we're going to run it for 2 weeks. You can either attribute WETH or House Token LP shares from Swapper or HoneySwap or I think just Swapper actually. I don't know. So that's neat. More information forthcoming next week. Basically, you'll be allowed to get up to 100 shares in the DAO for your House Token Tribute or WETH Tribute. I don't know what the ratio is yet, but we'll
It's
have
actually LP token or WETH.
Tribute. Okay, not House. Right, that's what I meant. Yeah, House LP shares.
And still trying to figure out this pull together thing. So stand by.
Lots of good stuff on the contributor side. Doing some good docs reorg. I'm excited for this NFT gallery though. It'd be cool to run ticketing through like a DAO NFT drop thing. I don't know if that would work. That might be messy.
Yeah, well, we're kind of revamping the UI on the bank page. So currently you have your main treasury, that's like the rage quittable part. But you can control any number of vaults attached to that, which may not be rage quittable. And that's also where like NFT assets would be stored. So you could have one of those vaults as the main, or as one of your NFT galleries. And then inside of there, you can sell your NFT galleries directly from the vault. So, you have your own kind of storefront. You could also go buy someone else's from someone else's vault, or eventually, and that's this whole thing we're working up to, is getting a really good integration with Rarible, which is just going to be on mainnet, but on the other side chains, we're going to have that kind of DAO house market where you buy and sell things from DAO house through your vaults. You could have as many vaults as you wanted. You could have, the other initiatives is being able to tribute NFTs for membership and like a buyout proposal. It's gonna be all pretty cool stuff. Really excited about it.
Yeah,
And I can't figure out this pull together thing. So if anyone else wants to, I think I'm just too distracted with talking. Maybe
someone else talk.
Did you guys see the Austin Kutcher thing? I guess everyone probably saw it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I was confused.
That's perfect meme, right? We should like make it a meme of that, like "Hey Babe" meme, I guess is what it's going to be called.
Where can I find this meme? Is it everywhere? I haven't been on Twitter today.
It's on his Twitter. He's basically talking to his wife.
I didn't know Mila Kunis was his wife.
Mila Kunis, yeah. And
Are they really married?
yeah, in real life.
Hey, babe.
IRL, just like that 70s show. But he's actually been in the ETH space for a while. He knows what he's talking about. My wife sent me a podcast where he's talking with called Armchair Expert. He's talking with
Dak Shepard.
And they're talking about Bitcoin and ETH. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Anyways, in the meme, he's like talking to his wife about it, and then he pans over, and Vitalik's sitting there in his kitchen at the table, and explains what Ethereum is. Pretty funny. Celebrities.
Go ahead.
If anyone wants to watch it again, sure.
That Twitter thread from She Generates this week was good. I think Dekan saw it. If you didn't, it was a pretty amazing like breakdown of different DAOs and what they do and links to them. I think it was a pretty dope value add to the space.
Yeah, that was a really I don't know how many DAOs she wrote on, but it looked like a lot.
Yeah, and I mean it was like insightful stuff too. It wasn't, just it went pretty deep. She's got a good foot into the ecosystem to know what she knows about this stuff.
Yeah, I liked when Deacon said, "Reveal yourself. You know too much about DAOs."
Yeah.
It was a 37 like DAO post thread. I don't know.
Yeah, she is an anon, right? And so she's not revealing herself in Discord, but she is. I've talked to her in Twitter, or her, him, who knows, group of people maybe, and yeah, they're a big fan of DAO House, and they're just in DAOs in general. So very insightful. Definitely worth following that. Anon. And maybe they're listening right now. Maybe Penguin is actually
Katarina.
No, I'm Penguin.
What did you guys think about Vitalik's conversation around social media on Ethereum, or I guess
I still need to watch this. Maybe a quick TLDR.
Yeah, I didn't see the full thing, but I saw the first 30 minutes, and well, he talked a lot about DAOs for a little while, and kind of talked about just the different waves of kind of crypto adoption, and I guess trending things that now things that trend on Twitter and why they trend, and why social media in Ethereum could possibly be different, just based off of who's using it, and also just the ability for curators maybe to be able to incentivize putting good quality content together. But that's about as far as I got into thinking about it.
The first thing I thought of when during his section on social media was the memes on the voting the memes in the DAO. I was like, what a cool way to curate content, because that's what it was all about mainly, was content curation, and how we have ways to make it better, and we should start to build those out. But yeah, memes on chain. It's how could you go wrong there? But I know there have been quite a few projects that have tried to like incorporate the crypto and the social media thing, and
Right.
it just doesn't seem to have, really picked up anywhere.
Another thing, like Ave tweeted some stuff this week about them trying to work on that over the next year.
Sorry, I totally missed that. I was caught up looking at a meme.
And then Mr. Dorsey has got was it Blue Sky is the name of that project that is yet to be determined. He did say some interesting stuff yesterday in that video with Kathy Wood and Elon Musk. But the biggest takeaway for me was how different the web would be if crypto existed before YouTube and Twitter and all these social channels that have to monetize using advertising, how different they would all be if we had some type of way to exchange value like we do now.
Well, Vanilla, maybe we could share those memes. Do you have that up? That have been submitted so far. And so Foundations DAO is it's just like our beginner DAO kind of. I think it could grow into something a lot more, but it's basically just a signal DAO, so you just signal on anything. On chain vote. It's on XDAI. Can submit whatever. But what we've been submitting recently is just memes. So I don't know. There's probably 4 or 5 submitted. Everyone voted on them.
Oh, sweet. I haven't. Wait, this is in the memes channel? I'm missing the. It's so pixelated. Your memes are pixels. No worries. Yeah, it's funny when I put the window in my side window, it looks a lot better. Doing what? I think it's contributor. Yeah, contributor, open chat, maybe, or proof of work. Oh, that'd be it. That is proof of work right there. Yeah. Hmm.
No, I love that, man. We should do that every week.
I just realized that the link I think you shared in chat is the old. Yeah. For pull together, yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna try it again. And then we can go off with seeing who won.
Not to put any pressure on you, but you got 4 minutes to figure it out because Philippe's been pretty good about keeping us on our time box, so we can't let him down in his absence.
Okay, I think it just finished, so let me see.
Yeah, it also put to waste all the trash talk.
I'll smoke on my front porch to give you guys a little garden action, little dedication tribute.
All right.
What's the weather out there like? Is it pretty warm or?
It's warm, but it's been really fucking rainy this year, which is strange, and so it's kind of like muggy, but it's not near as hot as it usually is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually 100 degrees every day, and hasn't been getting up that high.
All right. I think you're the winner, Travis, actually.
Wow, that was what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Wow, we're going to fucking Disney World.
Anything you want to say to your loved ones, family, friends?
I couldn't do it without you guys. You guys have been my inspiration and my cause of frustration, and I'll never forget this moment. This is a life this is a life changer for me. Who knows what's possible from here out.
Making a millionaire. Yeah, 33 house, dude. You also got a sweet NFT. You got a new NFT, so if you do your the level Earth Travis, you can see right now you have no background there, but you can set your background with that NFT.
Nice. No, I'm super stoked. It was actually my first time playing with Pool together, and my odds were like 1 to 1.65. So literally, I was gonna be a little disappointed if I didn't. It's like, if I don't win this, I'm not gonna fucking make it. So,
yeah, we didn't get a lot of people to join it, so I think your odds might have gone down even just a little bit. But congratulations.
I'll promote it more next time.
We'll do it again, and yeah, next time you can put a house in as a whale. So that brings us to the end of the show. I think it's awesome. Thank you guys for coming, and even we were just winging it. Go grab your PO-op. Go come back next week where we'll have either the Gitcoin crew or the Molokdow crew, or maybe someone else.
Nice.
So thanks a lot, dudes.
You never know. Thanks everybody for coming.
Cheers.
Peace, y'all.
Thanks. Peace out.